The United States will vote on November 5th, and they have a tough choice: Kamala Harris or Donald Trump. Who will America choose? We cannot say. It's a tight race. In national opinion polls, Trump and Harris are tied. The margins are razor thin, so they're looking for some last-minute boost, like a podcast. This one is called The Joe Rogan Experience, hosted by Joe Rogan. He has a devoted following of millions. It is by far America's most popular podcast, and Kamala Harris could join it. The Harris campaign has not confirmed it yet. These are just reports at this point. But why would Harris want to join the Joe Rogan podcast? Well, to appeal to the male voters. You see, Harris is a black woman. She has South Asian roots. Her nomination was historic, the first woman of color to lead a major party ticket. If she wins, she will be America's first female president. Some serious glass ceiling shattering right there. And that makes her popular among women. They're rallying behind her. But here's the problem. The men don't seem to care. Look at this poll. 73% men say the president's gender does not matter. And it's even more stark in two communities, the Hispanics and the blacks. Both are key Democratic voter bases. The women view Harris positively, but the men are divided. In fact, they either support Trump or they plan to sit out the elections, which is why the Joe Rogan podcast makes sense for her. 81% of his listeners are men. 56% of them are under 35 years of age. That is the voter base that Harris wants. But one podcast may not be enough. So the Democrats are rallying harder. They're bringing out the heavyweights like Bill Clinton and Barack Obama.
The whole election and the future of the country is turning out to be what people who were sort of on the fence about voting are going to do in the next 3.5 weeks. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. You might not think it's bad, but I mean, if you're one of them, don't feel guilty or anything, but the whole future of the country's on your back.
I'm sorry, gentlemen. I've noticed this especially with some men who seem to think Trump's behavior, the bullying and the putting people down, is a sign of strength. And I am here to tell you that is not what real strength is.
You heard Obama and Clinton. They sound desperate. And that's the sort of sentiment in the Democratic camp because they've gone down this route before. In 2016, Hillary Clinton was up against Donald Trump. She was leading in all the polls. And her campaign had one message: the historic significance of electing a female president. It did not work. Clinton lost to Trump. The glass ceiling remained intact. So Harris is wary. The doubt was always there, but now it's out in the open. Will men vote for Kamala Harris just because she's a woman? That's what the Democrats are asking. Her campaign, too, is worried. Aides want her to talk about topics that appeal to men, like economy and crypto. Her running mate, Tim Walz, is also on a media blitz. He's doing live events on streaming platform Twitch, going to football games, organizing hunts, all to appeal the male voters. So that is Kamala Harris's priority right now, which brings us to the other side, and that is the Republicans. What is Donald Trump doing? Well, he too is courting an unlikely voter base, the women of America. Traditionally, Trump's voters have always been men. In 2020, 42% women voted for Trump. 57% voted for Joe Biden. So women helped Biden seal his victory. Trump does not want a repeat of that. So he will participate in a Fox News town hall. It will focus on issues impacting women. Not just that, Trump is also ramping up the immigration rhetoric.
Kamala gets 4 more years, the entire country will be turned into a migrant camp, and that's what's happening. Millions and millions of people. When I win on November 5th, the migrant invasion ends and the restoration of our country begins. So in order to meet the goal of hiring 10,000 new agents, we need the agents. We need them badly. And keeping our incredible veteran agents on the force. Don't leave us!
So that is Donald Trump's grand plan, hiring 10,000 border guards. Immigration is a key issue in this election. Trump wants to draw more attention to it, especially in the swing states. After all, these are the states that will decide who becomes president. He's also talking about an enemy from within.
I think the bigger problem are the people from within. We have some very bad people. We have some sick people, radical left lunatics. And I think and it should be very easily handled by, if necessary, by National Guard, or if really necessary, by the military, because they can't let that happen.
Trump believes it will be a tense election day. He wants the army on the streets. Of course, that is unprecedented. America bans the use of military for civilian law enforcement. But that's Donald Trump for you. Also, it shows the turn that this election is taking. It's full of rhetoric and fear-mongering. With 3 weeks to go and campaigning in the final stretch, both sides are pulling all stops. At this point, it could go either way.
Firstpost decodes the U.S. election, explains how America chooses its president. Your primer on the race to the White House. Everything you need to know about how America votes and its global implications. U.S. Election Explained, every Monday and Thursday only on Firstpost.